I'm George Foster Rhymes with the Get To Free Press in Valdosta, Georgia, and we report what others ignore. Many of you in the South Georgia area have heard about what's going on in Quitman, Georgia, with the historic mayor, Nancy Dennard, and her police chief resigning along with others. And so I just want you to know that last night I attended the city council meeting in Quitman in Brooks County, Georgia. And I'm in the process of posting that meeting to the general public. However, 2 days prior to the council meeting, because of what I had heard on Channel 27 TV station, Channel 10, and read online with the newspaper and ValdostaToday.com. I want you to understand that the accusations that have been published in the local newspaper and on TV may or may not be true. I'm not calling it fake news. I walked the streets, I interviewed people, I talked with them. None wanted to go on camera, but they talked about the police chief resigning or being fired or et cetera, et cetera. But the bottom line is that I want you to consider this as you weigh what is being published against the historic black mayor, Nancy Dennard. That I have covered communities from Madison, Florida, northward up to up to Dawson, Georgia, with former Mayor Christopher Wright, to voting problems in Clayton County, over to Warrenton, Georgia, with Mayor George IVEY, and eastward toward Broxton, Douglas, Homerville, etc., etc. There is a historic documented pattern under Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp to remove blacks from office, to intimidate, suppress voters across the state of Georgia, and we have the documentation to prove it. Blacks who were elected by majority vote have been removed from office, denigrated, attacked by their own local members of law enforcement, attacked by their own city attorney, attacked by their own city manager, attacked by a group of whites that are in the clique and among the slicks, and blacks who join in the attempts of what we call a pattern and practice. In many cases, in these cities, it's about the money, the taxpayers not having their money accounted for, as you will see in the bonus video I have put following Quitman City Council meeting last night. I do that because we have appealed, and I say we, as a member of the News Media Network, but above all, civil rights organization with Representative Tyrone Brooks, the late Senator Robert Brown, all have addressed the federal government, yes, the federal government, on voter suppression, voter intimidation, and removing black elected members from office, as well as bringing them up on charges to stand before a superior court judge, etc., to fight bogus accusations brought on by the Secretary of State, Brian P. Kemp. This has all been documented. And so this is a prelude into last night's meeting. But I want you to know that following last night's meeting video, it will take you into what is happening across the state of Georgia that has been documented. However, I'm about to close this out now, and then we'll get to the movie. But listen to these words. The Atlanta Journal and Constitution, CNN, Victor Blackwell, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, 60 Minutes, 48 Hours, Dateline, and Your Line refuse to connect the dots and publish what black elected officials and black voters and white Democrats are going through here in the state of Georgia without any news media outlets connecting the dots. So now I'm only asking you to sit back, listen to last night's meeting. I was there. I was there because I care. I don't believe in just sit, say, and do nothing. Nor will I bury my head in the sand and pretend that I'm in heaven like the ostrich bird. And as you know, that's a legend about the ostrich bird. He bury his head and think that he is hid, but all his backside is sticking out. Now, whether that's true or not, I can't speak. But what I can speak about is that there is a proven pattern and practice against black voters and black elected officials. And if you listen, and if you watch the following video, you too will know that it is a disgrace that the Department of Justice under Eric Holder and President Barack Obama, because it's been going on that long, it is indeed a disgrace here in the state of Georgia, and it is a disgrace under our form of government for these issues to go on. And nothing is published in the white-dominated, the white-owned, and white-controlled news media outlets across the United States of America. Let me repeat, I did not create the information that you're going to see in the videos following the Brooks County City Council meeting. It is from various communities across the state of Florida and Georgia. I don't care. I'm not going to say I don't care. I'm not over concerned with elected officials ignoring these problems. I'm not overly concerned about the Atlanta Journal and Constitution ignoring these problems. I'm not overly concerned about no mainstream news media ignoring these problems, because I believe that there's a greater news media outlet and operation than what we see. I believe, as I close this introductory portion of this video, I believe that there's a greater journalist, there's a greater reporter than what we have seen. In the book of Matthew 24:35 says that heaven and earth would pass away, but my word will stand forever. And St. John 8:32 says, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set and make you free. This is all I ever wanted as a retired military veteran, that the white-dominated news media would publish the truth. Now again, it's all over the internet about Dr. Nancy Dennard, the mayor in Quitman. And all I'm saying, I'm not taking sides. I'm not releasing what I gathered from the interviews that I gave. I just want you all to look at all these other cities and how black elected officials have been attacked in the same manner as Dr. Nancy Dennard. But in the end, truth, right, and justice will win. I'm not saying she's right. I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm not saying the police officer's right. I'm not saying they're wrong. The money that somebody talk about, the hay, and the city not getting the money for it that I heard on the street, I'm not saying who is right, and I'm not saying who is wrong. They say Nancy Dennard talked on the street to officers and tried to micromanage the police force and take over I'm not saying the former chief is right. I'm not saying he's wrong. But there's one thing I know. I know that in the end, truth, right, and justice will win. I'm asking you to enjoy the video.
Quitman's former police chief, who abruptly left the department just a few days ago, blames the mayor's interference. Calvin Troy told WALB News 10 today that he quit the Quitman Police Department because he feels Mayor Nancy Denard is micromanaging the department, such as getting involved in police investigations, with the latest incident just last week. Troy has been with the Quitman Police Department for 12 years. He's been the chief since March. Denard became the mayor in January 1st. He says because of her mismanagement, he believes the best option for him was to leave, even though he didn't want to. Now, this month, Troy and 6 other officers have left. They left the community concerned about what will happen to the police department. The Brooks County Sheriff, Mike Dewey, does not anticipate the department shutting down. However, he says if the police department needs assistance with calls or patrols, they'll be there to always help. WLB News 10 reached out to Mayor Nancy Denard, City Manager Willie Burns, and City Attorney Carla Walker. None of them returned our call.
At City Hall, the Quitman community wanting changes after several police officers resigned. Former police chief Calvin Troy, one of the officers who stepped down.
He, along with several others, are saying it's because the mayor is overstepping boundaries. Emma Wheeler has more.
Former Quitman Police Chief Calvin Troy tells me the Quitman Police Department is now operating with about half as many officers as he says it should have, with nearly half a dozen resignations coming in the last 2 weeks. The reason? He says the mayor.
Well, I did not want to leave Quitman.
Former Chief Troy resigning, saying Mayor Nancy Dennard is creating a difficult working environment, interfering, making it impossible for officers to do their jobs.
You got a civilian coming in here, elected official coming in here trying to run the police department that has not been to the police academy.
Troy now concerned for the community's safety, a feeling shared to WCTV by at least a dozen people walking down the street.
Without our police department, we have no one to serve and protect our citizens.
Asking for new city leadership.
We need somebody that we can go to, we can trust in, and we can believe that you're going to do what you said you were going to do.
Former city employee Ashley Williams saying that's the reason she decided to leave City Hall.
You don't know who to answer to. You don't know if you're going to go to work that day. You don't know if you're going to have your job that afternoon.
As for Mayor Dennard, last week both she and City Attorney Carla Walker declining to comment. We reached out to the mayor again Thursday. We did not hear back. There is a group of community members working on a recall petition. Organizers tell me they're still working on getting more signatures before bringing that forward. In Quitman, Emma Wheeler, WCTV Eyewitness News.
And again, we did try reaching out today to Mayor Dennard about that situation, but again, we did not hear back.
Some residents in Quitman have become increasingly concerned with how their city has been operating for the past 9 months. That includes Ashley Williams, who found herself in a similar situation as the woman before her as the utilities billing clerk. The woman before her, Jalissa Mack, was the billing clerk for 3 years, but she says right after Quitman Mayor Nancy Dennard took office in January, everything changed. She says City Manager Willie Burns and Dennard periodically told her to erase certain billing statements, specifically those whose power was on the verge of being shut off. But she refused and questioned why they were instructing her to do so. By February, she was fired, and Williams replaced her that same day, though she says they had someone else reportedly clear billing statements.
Because that person didn't know how to do it, they had to come to me, and I had to show them how to get rid of this particular bill. So with me finding out what was going on that way, that gave me like a whole lot of insight as to what was going on.
She said she wanted to, quote, stick it out for as long as she could, but she says she left her job in July because Dennard, quote, micromanages and creates, quote, hostile work environments. Quitman's police chief resigned just a few days ago. City Attorney Carla Walker had no comment as to why so many city employees have left or been fired, and she says she doesn't have plans to release any statements about that matter or about pending litigation against Dennard. Neither City Manager Burns or Mayor Dennard have responded for comment.
That's true.
So if 4 are not here present, then it can. I'm just trying to get clarity. I don't need it from the audience, Ms. Bailey.
That's not what he said. He said to recognize them.
Excuse me.
Look, I sat here and been quiet, graded in public, at the mayor's approval. I don't have to leave. If you, then you'll have to arrest me. Get pictures. Come on, take it to jail, book me. Right now. We'll buy. That's not what he said. He said to recognize them.
Excuse me.
Look, I sat here and been quiet, graded in public, at the mayor's approval. That's not what he said. He said to recognize them.
Excuse me.
Look, I sat here and been quiet, graded in public, at the mayor's approval. That's not what he said. He said to recognize them.
Excuse me.
Look, I sat here and been quiet, graded in public, at the mayor's approval. That's not what he said. He said to recognize them.
Excuse me.
Look, I sat here and been quiet, graded in public, at the mayor's approval. I don't have to leave. If you, then you'll have to arrest me. I don't have to leave. If you, then you'll have to arrest me. I don't have to leave. If you, then you'll have to arrest me. I don't have to leave. If you, then you'll have to arrest me. I don't have to leave. If you, then you'll have to arrest me. Get pictures. Get pictures. Get pictures. Get pictures. Come on, take it to jail, book me. 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 Come on, take it to jail, book right now. We'll buy right now. We'll buy right now. We'll buy right now. We'll buy right now. We'll buy. Mayor, before you start, I want to object to the notice for the call meeting. Because it was not a location noted of the call meeting, and I consider this a special meeting, and I want that on the record tomorrow.
City of Gordon, call meeting, council agenda.
Mayor, if there's not a quorum, you cannot open the meeting.
Excuse me.
I want that on the record too
This
tomorrow.
is not a call meeting.
That's what it says. You notified everybody that it's a call meeting, Mayor.
The mere fact of the matter is that it was a call meeting, but due to the fact, we've just started, and it takes 4 to make a quorum.
That's true.
So if 4 are not here present, then it cannot be called, we cannot hold a meeting.
That's correct.
But, and we don't need response from the audience. It would be nice if everybody would just, sit and be attentive as adults are. So because of it not being we cannot have a quorum, the simple fact would be that we were here to discuss the situation with the water. And,
It's not a meeting.
this is not a meeting, so you can excuse yourself. And this discussion is very critical because it demands our most urgent attention and action. And we have until the 10th of April to comply with EPA's regulation.
What's gonna happen? So,
Council,
there's no
Whipple has
council
done a
here,
great
Mayor.
job in.
there's no council here, Mayor, it's
Yeah.
not a quorum. You cannot call this
Gee.
council. This is not a meeting.
It's just a public talking, that's all it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, just
Thank you, Mayor.
discussion.
Thank you, Chief.
Take that off the record, it's not a meeting.
Yes, sir, you had something to say?
Yeah, I have one observation really, and that is when the council first voted on the audit, you had 6 council members was present, and you had 5 voted for the audit, and 1 voted against the audit. It is rumored that one person made a statement to another member, "You are a disgrace to the white race." Well, if that's not racist, I don't know what is. He also said, and I quote, "If I go to jail, you are going to go to jail also. So why you want to support it?" Those statements have never been put on the air, in the news, in the newspaper, in the Wilkinson Post. I'm wondering why. I spoke to Channel 41 about it, and their comment was, and I quote, "I understand, I was there, I heard it, I've it on tape, but from our vantage point, it is not newsworthy." And that will tell you exactly what I'm saying.
So now, Mr. Lue, what you are saying is that, I mean, when you first started, my question to you was, is this a figment of your imagination? But now you have stated on camera before the people and citizens in Gordon, in the state of Georgia, and for Eric Holder of the Department of Justice that also have a civil rights division that deals with racial issues, you making it unequivocally clear that somebody witnessed what was said, yet our newspapers have ignored or said that it was not newsworthy, when in, let me repeat, when in Lumpkin, Georgia, a white female city councilman allegedly referred to Mayor GIBSON, and I went and covered the story because I was called to that area, referred to him as a nigger. They told me don't use the N-word, but call it what it is because we're at 2014. So you're saying what you just said has been, can be substantiated and verified by certain individuals. Who else was there that saw or heard what you were saying?
I would say the mayor reported it, number one, at the meeting.
Okay.
Nobody.
Okay, so this was at a public meeting?
Yes.
City council meeting?
City council meeting. And that was not put in the minutes.
Wait a minute. You're saying that somebody is not putting the beef of the minutes in the minutes?
Amen, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Tawana Brown.
What's the name?
City clerk.
Go ahead, what's the name?
Her name is City Clerk Tawana Brown. I was there at that meeting when Mayor Lue discussed that. She said point blank that Terry Edie made the comment to City Council Member Smallwood.
Thomas Smallwood.
Exactly. Said that, well, you ought to just paint your face black. Now, if that's not a racist comment, I don't know what is. Do we want a person of that nature, of that character, being Mayor Pro Tem for us? Do we want that person to step up? Now, they got a good one, Mayor Lue. Now they're trying to put in, what? A disgrace. We support Mayor Lue.
We support the mayor. We support the mayor.
object to the notice for the call meeting? Because it
excuse
was
me,
not a location
excuse
dated
me,
of the call meeting, and I
excuse
consider
me,
this a
this is,
special meeting, and I want that on the record tomorrow.
City of Gordon, call meeting, council agenda.
First one was the attorney status. I make a motion that Boone, Scotty Boone, and his associates be recognized as the city attorney from this point on.
Second. His associates,
Yes, ma'am.
he's the city attorney. How can he
His
say-
law firm, Boone, Scotty Boone, and his associates.
So the council is hiring him and his associates. I'm just trying to get clarity. I don't need it from the audience, Ms. Bailey. As a
That's not what he
journalist.
said. He said to
I'm-
recognize them.
Excuse me.
Look, I sat here and been quiet, graded in public, at the mayor's approval. I don't have to leave. If you, then you'll have to arrest me. Get pictures. Take a picture. Please take a picture. Come on, take it to jail, book me. Right now.
We'll find it. Let me down there.
What I'm trying to clear, I understand what's going again, council. When we, your statement, I'm just trying to get clarity. I don't need it from the audience, Ms. Bailey. As a
That's not what he
journalist.
said. He said to recognize them.
Excuse me.
Look, I sat here and been quiet, graded in public, at the mayor's approval. I don't have to leave. If you, then you'll have to arrest me. Get pictures. Take a picture. Please take a picture. Come on, take it to jail, book me. Right now.
The first one was the attorney status. I make a motion that Boone, Scotty Boone, and his associates be recognized as the city attorney from this point on.
Second. His associates.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to address Mayor, can I say one more thing? I want to address the fact, and I'm not ashamed to address the gap that's in order as long as we can get it. On my personal level, I don't trust it. That's me. I'm speaking for me. Because when I get a lawsuit for this city and my name in there, and Mr. Boone said I talked to him, blah, 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 and he only presented one side, I got a side too. Now, I know what transpired with some conversations we had. I'm speaking on my side. I cannot work with people I don't trust. In 19 years, I have never called to ask any legal advice from Mr. Boone. Now we get these calls get legal advice. Everything we say to get the information to move the city forward is thrown against us. It's open meeting violation. You shouldn't have done this. You harassed us. I have not harassed anybody. That's not my name. And I don't appreciate reading in a lawsuit, you harass somebody. Why not get my side before you do the lawsuit? You're an attorney that represents the city, not half of it. All right. And I don't appreciate that. That's my standard. That I cannot work with people that I cannot trust.
Thank you, Council. Streets, Council Whipple.
Mayor, before you start, I want to object to the notice for the call
Excuse
meeting.
me.
Because it
Excuse
was
me.
not a
Excuse
location
me.
dated of the call meeting, and I
Excuse
consider
me.
this a
This is,
special meeting, and I want that on the record tomorrow.
City of Gordon, call meeting, council agenda.
Mayor, if there's not a quorum, you cannot open the meeting.
Excuse me.
I want that on the record too
This
tomorrow.
is not a call meeting.
That's what it says. You notify everybody that it's a called meeting, Mayor.
The mere fact of the matter is that there was a call meeting, but due to the fact, we've just started, and it takes 4 to make a quorum.
That's true.
So if 4 are not here present, then it cannot be called, we cannot hold a meeting.
That's correct.
But, and we don't need response from the audience. It would be nice if everybody would just, sit and be attentive as adults are with the water. And,
It's not a meeting.
this is not a meeting, so you can excuse yourself. And this discussion is very critical because it demands our most urgent attention and action. And we have until the 10th of April to comply with EPA's regulation.
It's not a meeting. It's not a meeting. It's not a meeting.
What's gonna happen?
So,
Council,
there's no
Whipple has done
council
a
here,
great
Mayor.
job in.
There's no council here, Mayor. It's
Yeah.
not a quorum. You cannot call this
G.B.R.
council. This is not a meeting.
This is just a public talking that's all it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, just
Thank you, Matt.
discussion.
Thank you, Chief.
Take that off the record, it's not a meeting.
Okay, money is the city. And we really need to discuss this. We really need to discuss this. And we really, and I personally, like I said, talked with councils, and they did tell me that they would be here. Then they tell the clerk something else. So we don't know if you say
You
you're
know
gonna
why
do
the
this today,
lady's
you're gonna
not
do this
here that's
tomorrow.
coming and discussing?
Those people
She can still discuss with us.
Doretha, if you remember correctly, you and Barbara missed about 8 or 9 meetings in a row last summer.
Oh, ma'am, we did not.
We're not here to discuss about that. If you're gonna print something in your paper,
Yes,
I
ma'am,
really
I am.
appreciate that you would not put untruth in there. Please put the truth in there. I missed 2 meetings. Thank you.
And so did I, 3 at the most.
Mayor and council, I want to say this to you as I close for sure. When I was called a nigger twice, I'm not calling no names. I'm not going to use the video that I turned around. I'm not going to do that. Why am I not going to do that? Because that's not what it's about. What it's about is building a better city. Whether it's Meigs, Dawson, Quitman, Warrenton, Davisboro, that's what it's about. When I was in the military, they didn't tell me nothing about no black and no white, no Democrat, no Republican. They told me to do what I need. I served during the Vietnam era. They didn't need all that. Yes, sir. If y'all having a question for me? Yes, sir.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
I have a question.
Please do. Yes, all questions.
Do you now live in Gordon?
No, I do not live in Gordon.
And so you're not a citizen of Gordon?
No, I'm not a citizen here of the city of Gordon. And, well, no. She asked the question. She deserves an answer. Yeah. And the answer is, no, I do not. I enrolled in the military in 1971. I didn't serve Gordon. I didn't serve Thomasville, Valdosta, Atlanta, none of them. Or neither of Puerto Rico or our outlying territories. I serve for everybody. And that's why I serve everybody. So when I'm called to these communities, I go because I care. That's why I go. Nobody give me no gas for coming up here for the most part. I do it because I love people. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So my question is, you're under the citizens talking time, and are you appearing as a citizen of Gordon or as a journalist, or how are you appearing here? If you're appearing as a journalist, why does the mayor stop me from speaking?
Madam, I go to a lot of cities
I'm very familiar with the laws of addressing city council. I have no idea, but I will say this. If the mayor stopped you from doing what I'm doing tonight as a journalist to get to Free Press under the name of George Boston Rhymes, if she stopped you after you put in the request to speak as I put in the request, she is wrong in my opinion. If you put in a request tonight, I think that you have a right to be doing the same thing that I'm doing, and I wish you would have. Now that's just the way I see it. Jesus said, what I say unto one, I say unto all. And so if you can't do it unto all of us, don't do it unto any of us.
That's right.
Yes, yes.
You said that you don't try to belittle anybody or make them feel bad. When you hold the newspaper up that I publish and make criticisms about that newspaper, that's offensive to me because you're not going off fact. You're only going off opinion and your emotional feelings. And that's offensive to me.
Madam, I got you.
Listen, I'm not saying that, but
The
go ahead and
newspaper's
address
trash.
this.
Like,
Go ahead
this
and,
lady's talking
excuse me.
out over here. This lady just called the newspaper trash, and she's talking out of turn.
Excuse me, ladies, right now. You will address that and we will end this. Okay, please, thank you.
Editor Judy, baby, I will say this to you. If what I spoke was in error, or if I spoke that offended you, from my heart, I'm sorry. But from my observation, from what I know to be untruths, just like today's paper, I can sit with you, if you would like at any time, with the camera rolling. And let's dialogue the apples and oranges, and let's find out. Somewhere I read, come let us reason together. And that's what is happening in this world today. People are not willing to sit down and reason. It ain't about argument, because if people looking for somebody to argue with George Boston Ryan, I'm sorry, you got the wrong one. I don't argue.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Excuse me, Miss Bailey.
I'm speaking.
No, I said after he speaks, that would be the end.
Why you didn't cut him
Please
off?
have a
He went over
seat.
his 3 minutes.
We are moving further along because you kept asking questions. That's from the mayor. All right, let's have a seat. That's the end of that. So now, moving further along, you and him will have to get together. Y'all can answer all the
I
questions
don't
you
have
want.
anything else to say to him except listen to him.
All right, thank you.
Hello, my name is Miss Simmons. I sit here and I listen to everything that goes on. And you know, the last weekend I called your newspaper trash. Maybe I could have used a better word.
She's supposed to address council.
We're not having anyone speak out over, please. She's requesting to be
I was on the agenda. Yes, I did call your paper trash, but I think a good journalist is going to state the facts. And I mean, a lot of incidents you didn't. And I got some notes. But a fact is, you should write about why the city of Warrenton hasn't had an audit yet. What do they have to hide? That's one thing you should have write about. How come a city, one week they broke, the next week the city got plenty of money? But that's not either here or there.
The associates. I'm just trying to get clarity. I don't need it from the audience, Miss Bailey.
That's not what he said. He said to recognize them.
Excuse me.
Look, I sat here and been quiet, graded in public, at the mayor's approval. I don't have to leave. If you, then you'll have to arrest me. Get pictures. Come on, take it to jail, book me. Right now.
We'll bond him. Let me down there with you.
Hello, my name is Miss Simmons. I sit here and I listen to everything that goes on. And you know, the last weekend I called your newspaper trash. Maybe I could have used a better word.
She's supposed to address council.
We're not having anyone speak out over, please. She's requesting to be
I was on the agenda. Yes, I did call your paper trash, but I think a good journalist is going to state the facts. And in a lot of incidents you didn't. And I got some notes. But a fact is, you should write about why the city of Warrenton hasn't had an audit yet. What do they have to hide? That's one thing you should have write about. How come a city, one week they broke, the next week the city got plenty of money? But that's not even here or there. In one of your articles, you wrote about the councilwoman costs the city $340, which is not true. But you never retract it. A good journalist is going to retract it. In fact, they saved the city $340. The meeting was supposed to be on Wednesday. So by them not going on a Tuesday, the city would save $340. And then another article you wrote, the city will not make payroll, in which indeed the city did make payroll. The check was deposited in a timely manner by the mayor to make sure that all her employees was paid. But most of all, Mr. George Buster Rhymes stood up here and expressed how he walked the street in Gordon in 2015 and was called the nigger word by two women. You didn't think that was newsworthy? Nowhere in your paper did you print about him being called the N-word by two women on the street in Gordon. And I really think you're biased. And I'm asking all of you who disagree with the things she writes in her paper, don't buy it. Hit her in her pocket. Because a good journalist is going to write the facts. And a lot of times your facts is not true.
Excuse me. Don't hit me again, Miss Linda. Don't hit me again. You nasty self.
Kemp.
Dorita, what is your understanding? You're asking yourself, and that's what you said. And Mr. Smallwood, what did you think it was?
What Terry said.
Well, that's the case, then, but that's not the way I understood it. So
you didn't ask the right people. There you go again. If you had asked the right people rather than be selective in who you talked to, you might have got the right answer.
Well, he hadn't asked me anything, so I'm just here just for the first time, and that's true. And I was told that it was...
Okay. This is something that was brought up to my attention after I'm kind of pushed out of this place to research this, and with what was told me. So I did what I did based on what I was advised to do. Okay?
And you think that is a fair assessment of doing forensic stuff? Picking up on just something like this?
No, I would like to have been brought in and accepted to do this, but I'm right now working as best I can with the instructions I have of getting in here to allow to finish this job.
By who?
By who?
Yes, by who?
Whoever abstains when they vote on this thing is instructing me. So you tell me.
You talked about the hearing, and did I hear anything that you said or not? I heard you tell in that courtroom that day that there was $37,000 some odd dollars wrote to Georgia Power that Georgia Power said they did not receive. We came back and we found every check from Georgia Power, and they added up to $37,000 whatever few dollars. So now, did you perjure yourself on that stand that day?
No, that's the information I had at the time. I'm still trying to get information from Georgia Power to verify that, yes or no. So I did not perjure myself. I was given a copy of what was supposed to be all of the meters, all the accounts for the city of Gordon had with Georgia Power. I compared that to the payments, and I came up $37,000 short. So with the information I had, that's what I did.
And you think somebody took the money? You said somebody else.
I didn't say that, sir. I said that it was $37,000 short.
Somebody may have got the money.
You did. Excuse me.
No, it was $37,000 short. I don't know what that means. I need to reconcile. I need to continue working on it to be able to make a determination whether that's actually was gone or not.
Okay. One other thing in that hearing that day, did you or not say you have not worked on the audit in a long time because you have not been paid? Did you not make that statement that day?
At that time I did.
Okay. The week before we had that hearing, did you and Mr. Reese or not call the county commissioner's office and talk to a Mrs. Judy Brown on a phone conference and ask them?
Yes, we had a meeting.
Okay. Yes, sir.
That's right.
Okay.
So that was the first time that I worked on this audit since back in May.
But you said you had not worked on it.
I said I hadn't worked on it much. I hadn't. You go back and look at my timesheet, I have time back in way early in the first couple of days in May, hadn't done anything until the weekend. They called me up, Mr. Reese and Mr. Jones called me up and wanted to come meet in Monticello. They had some information they wanted me to look at. So I went down there to look at it. It's the first thing I had done in it, and figured the months, maybe 2.5 months. Is that fair enough?
What I heard, you said you had not worked on it at all. You said, I have not worked on it because I have not been paid. That was the statement I heard. I bet you I will always probably got the
I don't recall saying that.
Okay.
I really don't recall exactly how I put it, but I had not worked on it until then. Okay. Well, so I got another finding that was brought to my attention that I want to bring out. Okay. And that's the little thing got to do with alcohol beverage tax. Let me pass this out. Let me pass this out.
You don't think people make errors?
I'm sorry?
You don't think people make errors on those? I've already picked up that, and I've already called the auditor, RUFUS, and their lady, Miss Patricia, made an entry error on that. Call them and ask them. $1,430,000 when it's supposed to be $21,000. It's a one-line item error. Okay? And it's a revenue. Showing as a revenue and not a paid up. That $21,000 is what it's supposed to be for the line.
Made an entry of $1.4 million. That was a credit to alcohol and beverage tax. What was the other side of the entry?
$1,434,000.
What's the other side?
That added together, you know, a subtract of 21 from, that's what it goes to.
What is the other side of the entry? It's a double entry accounting system. You have a credit to the revenue account. What's the debit?
It's a plus 1434.
Yes, that's the credit. What's the debit? And to what account?
It's under alcohol beverage tax.
That's the credit. What's the debit?
Look, they're both explained. There's no debit. It says over budget or under actual budget is all it says.
You're not an accountant, right?
No, sir, I'm not an accountant. Hush! Tell me the line that you're looking at or what you want to say.
Okay. The other side of the when you make in accounting systems, you have a double entry system. You make an entry to credit the franchise tax. The alcohol beverage tax. You have to have a debit also to be a balance of the books. Okay. So you credit the alcohol beverage tax. You debit something else. That's what is the debit. What's the debit you pay for?
I did not make this entry. This is the year in audit adjustment from last year.
So you don't know the other side.
She has given me the correction today. She said she did the wrong account. I have the correction, and I will get paid for it under the first.
I'll tell you what the other side of the entry was. You made an entry to the fixed assets for $1.4 million. I don't understand why you would do something like that. Or why any, okay, well, who else puts information into the QuickBooks files?
I'm not supposed to be talking.
You're not supposed to be talking. I don't understand that either.
But I like what we like to explain to you.
Well, I hate to say that right was wrong this time because that was not a proper. The entry makes no sense. $1.4 million fixed assets $1.4 million credit to the alcohol beverage tax. It made no sense. Okay? That was brought to my attention, and so I'm bringing it up now. Okay, you say you want to hear examples of things.
I found that myself. I would look over these numbers every month. Ask Ms. Brown, didn't I call her and ask her the same question? Where and why? And she told me that it was an error on Ms. Wright to come down for.
But you didn't know what the interest was.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I was saying, Councilman, you didn't see that? This is what they're discussing.
I mean, it stands out. I mean, it's hard to miss it.
Well, I have a problem with all of a sudden, therefore, you got half out, didn't you say? The old saying was, where's the money, man?
Right.
As soon as you go out, the sign on the thing said, the money's in the bank. You slipped in through the back door.
Oh.
That's how I got in the bank. 1.4 million.
That money's not there.
If that money's not there, then all these people, this is money on paper. A lot of this is money on paper. We need in order to see exactly where we stand in liquid asset and everything is.
Exactly.
Because we don't know.
I want a clean slate. That's all.
The entry made no sense to me. I went and looked at the, if you get revenue in from the alcohol beverage tax, it goes through the general fund. I went to look in the general fund to see if there was a deposit for anywhere near that kind of money. No, there's no deposit for money. It's just a flat journal entry for whatever reason. I had no idea. And you want to see examples of things, so I brought up an example of things. You know, I don't know what it is.
It didn't surprise me. I saw it. You didn't surprise me with it. I already knew it. And I'd already questioned the right people to find out the right answer.
I wish I could come up with
right
something.
and right.
I wish I could come up with something you're not surprised about at this point in time. But the things I'm seeing, I still haven't.
Be very careful where you go with your statements. I'm not going to put up with it if you continue to make accusations, okay?
Question, attorney. I'm sorry, counsel.
Yes,
Councilman. Now, to attest to this, can you explain to me that you got on the witness stand accordingly and said that I, the mayor, is bankrupting the city by stealing grant money and all bankrupting the city, so
No, ma'am.
I can
never
agree.
said that. Read the transcript. You will not see where Terry even said that.
The mayor's bankrupt the city, so all of a sudden, the money's gone. Where's the money? Now you put the sign out there, we're happy, happy, happy. The money's back in the bank. I want to know which door did it come in to.
Are y'all really using signs and banners?
The next outburst, we will have.
They didn't have an outburst the whole night.
Y'all be quiet. Everybody be quiet.
That's enough, man.
As I said, the money's back, so we're happy, happy, happy. Show us how it got back. Auditor.
I can't show you how I got back. I can't get back in there and look. So I don't know. You know, I'm been removed from looking at this stuff. I just get things sent to me from time to time to say, look at this. This looks funny to me. That's the best I can do at this point. I still have my list of things that I want to go investigate. The transfers of monies, the investigation in certain accounts. I really don't want to go into a whole lot of detail of the things I want to do because I don't want to give away the things I'm looking at. Because they could be changed and altered and purged. I don't need that to happen to make my audit even tougher. Does that not make sense?
Yes, sir.
I can't explain everything I'm going to do as I go through it. When I finish it, I'll give you a full report of everything that I see and the funny transactions that happen. That's what I'll give you. Okay. And I'm doing this in the best interest of the city. Okay? I wish you would just accept that. If you don't accept that, then when it comes up to vote no. Okay? Vote no. I want you to have all the information you need to be able to vote yes or no. I'd rather you vote yes. If you want to vote no, vote no.
Keep moving forward.
Okay? Is that clear enough? That's...
Bill, let me ask you a question. On those QuickBooks in the year 2009, in August of 2009, there was $2 million moved from Georgia Farms 1 that went to Magnolia Bank to purchase the CD.
Quiet, please.
During that same time period, that year, there was a $2 million adjustment on the QuickBooks. Why was there a $2 million adjustment on the QuickBooks?
I don't know why there was.
Mr. One, do you know why there was $2 million yesterday?
It had to go through the bank. Ask Melissa Morris Bank. She can explain it to you. When we moved that CD from Magnolia to Morris Bank, when we got to Morris Bank, she had to run it through the general fund account, some kind of banking transaction. Okay? But that money is actually that $2 million CD that we have now at Morris Bank. It's the same $2 million transfer from place to place.
Okay, but I have a problem with the money was moved from Georgia Transfer 1. We see that in the QuickBooks. We see where the money's moved, and it decreased the amount of money that was in the Georgia Transfer 1 down to $500-something thousand.
No.
Then, yeah, it was $2,500,000 in there until the $2 million was moved. Once the $2 million was moved, that left $563,000 in the Georgia Fund 1. Why, later on down, we got an adjustment in the QuickBook for the year for $2 million?
That was another one of those year-end audit adjustments that RUFUS made.
$2 million?
But that's where it went through the bank, and they had to take it, they had to take it out of the general fund.
Now that's something that I feel we need to really look into.
But it's all their document. I found it the other day, right on the bank statement. It's all documented. And we called Melissa Morris Bank. She'll verify.
One of the problems with the Georgia 1 fund was it hadn't been reconciled in at least 10 years. Okay. It needs to be looked at. And those, I was looking at the transaction, and those are the transactions I want to follow to see where the money came from and where it went to. You look at all the, where all it went, all the types of the checks to make sure everything's being done the way it's supposed to be done. Okay. It just hasn't been looked at. And it's a lot, it started out with $6 million, now it's down to $5,000. I'm not saying, I don't have the same opinion that Terry has about the $2 million. But there's other transactions there I have a problem with. Okay.
When we move those amounts of money, whether you say it's 25, 50, or whatever, 75, this council makes a motion at this table to take the money out of the One Georgia Fund, just like Mr. Reese tried to do that night with your $10,000 that gets passed. We did the same thing every time. The minutes would reflect when we voted to take that money and move it. So if you could get the minutes and look back into One Georgia Fund, you would see that they would match up, and then the transaction from One Georgia Fund is an automatic transfer. They transfer that money automatically, electronically to the Georgia Bank. I can't remember which account it went in, say the money market fund or the general fund or whatever. But then to get it to the other fund, you have to move it, once it gets to the bank.
I know how it works. I understand how it works.
Right.
I just want to see the full transaction. I don't want to just see $25,000 out here, showing up here, and then showing up over here. I want to see that when that money moved over here, that was the money moved over here, and it didn't come in from somewhere else. It was not reported. Okay, I want to see the check to back up the money that showed up here, so with the money that came in here, it was not just a check from somewhere else that you didn't record. It shouldn't be reported as revenue. Okay, that needs to be clarified. That's why I asked for the copy of the deposit slip and the check behind the deposit slip to show me exactly where that money came from. Okay, and I haven't been shown that yet. I've asked for it numerous times. There's also, I hate to reveal everything, but there was a $230,000 transaction that moved money from the general fund into the SPARTA 2007 fund, and it said to refund it. There was no money that ever came out of 2007 fund, SPARTA 2007, went to the general fund that needed to be refunded. But that was the note that was on there. So why is there a note that says refunded, but it was never taken out in the first place? Okay? Don't you think that needs to be looked at? Is there something maybe going on that needs to be investigated?
I'm sure that money and the answer is there if you ask the right people. I might not off the top of my head remember. In the past, we have had 4 or 5 different projects in this city that you have to use SPLOST money for. And sometimes to pay that money, you pay for it from the general fund, and then you take and pay it back with the other money.
Sir,
it can be.
Let me do it real quick.
Okay.
I don't just want to ask people. I want to see the documents. I'm not going to just take the word of somebody. See, I want to see the actual physical evidence of what's going on.
That document should be there.
I haven't yet received it yet. That's my whole problem. There's a lot of transactions I want to investigate to see that everything is above board. Everything is fine. That's it in a nutshell. I've told you that every time we bump into each other.
Yes, sir.
You know, and I don't want to go broadcasting it all over the place, like I've done tonight. You know, but you're pushing me in this position to do this kind of thing, which is kind of silly to me. But that's what we're at. That's where we are.
Okay. So, Council, go ahead, Council.
Okay, we can get you to finish this audit. Do you have a problem with Mr. Edie sitting right off? Sitting in there, and you want to
accompany me.
I didn't think so. So you have no problem
No,
with him or any other council member sitting while you complete this audit. Am I correct?
That's correct. Anybody come in that wants to. Mr. Smallwood came in one time. Barb's come in several times. I don't think we ever. You came in once, okay. You never came in.
He never comes.
I didn't.
I was never invited.
Well, I don't invite people. They just show up.
Okay.
It's not an invitation only. It's just I'm in there working, and some people came in.
Councilman Edie, I'm sorry. Mr. Baskin, does he have an invitation tonight?
You have an open invitation to come in. Give me a yes vote.
Will you
give me a no vote? I don't.
Certainly, I'll be glad to work with Mr. Baskin if we get everything ironed out legally.
Well, that's fine. That's the whole point of this thing. That's why we're here to vote on my engagement letter, to get everything legal the way you want it.
Right.
And I want it legal too.
And one other thing before we go any further, I want to say this one more time too. Your audit is not approved in our budget. You understand that? Do you know what that means? That your money has to be found and a budget amendment made to find where that money is going to come from to pay you. We have never done that. We don't have the money, to pay you. So now we got to back up and try to find a way to find that money to pay you and do a budget amendment. It has to be voted on in order for you to get paid. You understand? I mean,
Well, that's your opinion. I don't know.
That is not an opinion. That is by the state law.
Is that?
I can tell you what. Finance Chair.
We can do that.
But what I'm saying is true, Mr. Reed.
Right, what you're saying is true. And we can look at some line items and find the money. Because, let me say this to y'all. I think we've dealt in mediocre stuff ever since the mayor been here. It's time for us to act like grown folk and be the dignified Christian that some of us confess to be. Nobody's pointing fingers saying nobody does a thief, a robber, or a liar. What we're saying is, in business, we're going to be men. And this is the way we're going to operate the business. Let's get this audit complete. Let's get the standing on the city finance where we can do this budget and we can move forward. Because it's too many hindrances going on. It doesn't take this long to do stuff. Let's give Mr. Baskin what he's requested. Let's go ahead and complete this audit so we'll all know what the finances of the city are. We have other things that we need to deal with. And these are precious issues, and we're just not going to go forward until we can get this stuff resolved. We're battling each other, and we're fighting, and this is not good for this council. Now, I would never point fingers at anyone on this council to say, I accuse you of this and that. Now, I will use the word I see as misappropriation. If there were mistakes, then we need to correct them. But there are some things that the auditor needs to look at, and we need to give him that access. And if the thing is, Mr. Edie, that you wasn't invited in, I would be more than happy for you to come. I wish you had come to sit in, because you're very instrumental on this council because of the knowledge and the expertise and the years you put in service. And you and I have never found each other. Mr. Smallwood, same situation. And we got to get back to this. Man, you're new.
Yes.
But she don't know a lot of stuff, y'all. She's trying to learn. Don't get her for being inexperienced. I was director of a computer program firm up there in Macon, and I had to train people, and they thought they were smart. They sent me somebody that dropped out of school in the 9th grade. But you know what? That person turned out to be the best operator we ever had. Why? Because I trained them. And people can't do it. Everybody needs a chance. And the man needs a chance. We need to, when there are things that are not appropriate, sometimes we have to discuss these things behind closed doors and not bring them to this open forum. We got to get some things ironed out, and we got to get on one foot. We got to move forward with this. The lawsuits, the water adjustments, come on, y'all. I mean, we just got to move forward with the city business. We stalled 7, 8 months. It's time to move forward. And I don't think we can move forward until we get Mr. Bassett to come in here. And my prayer is that he don't find anything. But things are questionable. Let's go ahead and erase those questions and move forward.
I do want there's a lot of cash that runs through here for the water bills. The people in the city, they pay with the bills in cash. Cash is a very risky thing to pay your bills with, because that allows the possibility of easier to steal, because cash is easier to take. Okay, I just want to make, if nothing else ever happens to this whole city, I would just like to tell you people, stop paying your water bills with cash. Write a check. They can't. Nobody can steal your check. Not very easily, but they can pocket your cash a lot easier than that. Okay, so just don't do that anymore. There's thousands of dollars being paid that way. Okay, you can pay any way you want to, but I just recommend you don't. And that's really all. I guess I'm trying to think of anything else. I just want to make sure. The thing is, you got to vote yes or no. Abstain vote means you have a problem. You have a situation. Either, the way I understand, I did some research on this to find out what an abstention vote means. It means you either have a conflict of interest. This is where I'm for. You either have a conflict of interest, or you haven't answered. You have the questions answered yet. So I came here to answer your questions. Anything you have, as best I can. I probably revealed too much that I wanted to anyway. But I'm here to answer any questions, so you can either vote yes or no and make a decision on that. Okay. So, are there any more questions?
Except one more. The day we was in that hearing, Miss Taylor Hunt came up to me with your card in her hand, and she told me that the NAM was going to pay your expenses. Has that happened?
No.
Well, she told me they were.
I wish she'd gone through with it.
Sure.
She said a lot of things that ain't here.
Okay. I'm just asking.
Is she here?
You know.
Is she here? You got a check for me?
I paid for some materials that you needed. I did an open request for some records that you needed, but they have not provided them. And I have called the Attorney General, and he told me by Wednesday if I don't have them, that we're going to sue.
Some of the things that she's asking for are those checks, the back of the deposit slips. I have not. She's asked for them. How long ago was that?
I sent a request in July, the 20th. Well, I got an answer back on the 28th. I spoke with Mr. Green, and he said that she was going on a vacation, Ms. Brown, and would be back on the 4th. The assistant clerk could work on it, but she's got all the duties to do, and if the mayor permitted her, she could work on it and produce some of it. Well, the 4th came, I came up 3 days later, and Ms. Brown refused to give me any information. I paid for it, paid for a big portion of it, $230-something, and then I have only gotten 3 of the 17 items.
Where were you told to pick up those?
According to the open records, I'm supposed to pick them up with the keeper of the records, and according to the open records request, after I read the document, the keeper of the records for Gordon, Georgia is the city clerk, and that's where I was going to pick them up. Now, she was saying I needed to contact Attorney Boone. I told her no, that she was the keeper of the records, and that's where I would be receiving them from Gordon. Now, if she wanted to go to Irvington and pick them up, if they were over there, then if they were being kept in Irvington, then I needed to notify the State Department that the records are not kept here, that they're kept in Irvington. And if I had to get them from Irvington, she needed to go get them and bring them here, because I was told to pick them up at the City Hall and go.
See, I have a problem with having those document requests be picked up in Irvington. I don't know why they're not picked up at City Hall. I don't understand. In Irvington, does that mean it's your office? Are you receiving these? Are you receiving these things?
Well, with all due respect, sir, as she's already pointed out, she has made this the subject of an open investigation by the Attorney General's office. It is an open investigation now. We are answering it to the Attorney General's office. So I'm not going to comment on an open investigation by the Attorney General's office.
Well, that's fair enough. But I think that if somebody asks an open records request, the documents should come from the City Hall, not from anywhere else. Because I want to see the documents straight from the source without anybody else having their hands on them. Okay? That's all I have to say. Unless you have any more questions for me, because I'm here to answer any question that you have, so you can vote yes or no on my audit. Or excuse me, my engagement letter, I should say. I'm asking, does anybody else have any more questions for me? Because I'm willing to answer anything. Clayton and Donnie.
Thank you, Mr. Best.
Thank you.
Next. Council, I will now ask for a motion to approve Mr. Bassett's engagement letter.
I make the motion to approve Mr. Bassett's engagement letter.
I second the motion.
Motion has been made and seconded. Are there any questions?
Where is he gonna start from now? What is he gonna do now?
Go ahead.
What is he going to do now, Mr. Baskett?
Am I asking that question?
What's your next move? Where are you going from here? If you are approved for the office.
I would come down here and pick up where I left off, start doing the investigation, start pursuing these items that I requested, looking at them, tracing these transactions through. Then the other things I have, I don't want to give you my audit plan totally, but there's other things I want to look at. Some going into funds and different things to find out, look at the money and who the money's being paid to. Okay, that's an audit.
All of your existing invoices you feel illegal and everything now. All of your existing invoices you feel they are legal now.
Well, I think so.
That's my question. I mean, you're operating illegally up to this point, so I didn't know how we would back up on all of that. That's my question.
And I apologize for not knowing more about procedures of the city of Gordon. Okay, I just was brought in to do an audit. I started my audit, and next thing you knew, everything just blew up on me. And I was just trying to do my job. You know, I didn't want to offend anybody. I didn't want to exclude anybody. But there's certain things I can't tell everybody when you're doing an audit. A forensic audit is not the same as an annual audit. When RUFUS come in here, they do a financial audit, and that's to state that the financial statements fairly represent the financial condition of the city. Okay, but they don't do the kind of things. They don't look at the kind of things that I look at, in the detail that I look at it. I look for the weak areas and then focus on those to see if there's anything going on. I'm not going to do what RUFUS does. It's nowhere near the same thing. And what they do is what they're supposed to do. I'm not saying anything about their job, because they are supposed to do a financial audit, and that's what they've been doing. But they're down, like I said. They don't do what I do, and I don't do what they do. It's two separate things. And what I do is not something that you want to do every year. It's something that you do periodically. Maybe, like the mayor said, she comes in, you get a new administration, she wants to make sure everything is fine. Okay? And it's not a bad idea to do that every 4 or 5 years, or however often you get a new mayor.
Can I ask a question, man?
Sure.
I know since I've been on council, we never had a forensic audit, just a regular audit. Has there ever been a forensic audit for this city that you all know of?
Not since I've been on council. There was some money went missing, just as Mr. Baskett said, 33 or 4 or 5 years ago, when some cash got missing, and they caught the person that did it and everything, and whether they did a forensic audit again before my time.
I did read in the paper, in the Telegraph, the plaintiff attorney representing the concerned citizen of Gordon, he was quoted as saying that the city of Gordon has a forensic audit done every year. That was
forensic.
But I'm just saying. I don't know. I wasn't there to hear it. That was what was printed in the paper. And when I read that, I said, "There's no way the city has a forensic audit done. They have a financial audit done every year, and you're supposed to. You're obligated to have a financial audit every year, and so you've got to.
We got clean governmental audits, from the state for the last 30, 40 years. GASB, I guess you're familiar with all the different Georgia, laws that you go by for audits. you have to meet all the standards they put out there. We met every one of them every year to get a clean audit. I've got a copy of the home, for the last 10 years.
There's one thing, I guess it probably gives times you need to read this. This is your financial audit from last year, okay? And some of the comments that are made by your financial audit by Right. And probably, I've well said, and it is true. I'll read it to you. It says, a deficiency in internal controls exists when the design or operation of the control does not allow management or employees in the normal course of performing their assigned functions to prevent or detect and correct misstatements on a timely manner. Material weaknesses, deficiency, or a combination of deficiencies in internal control, such that there is a reasonable defect, possibility that a material misstatement in these functions will be prevented or detected and corrected on a timely basis. And with this, it's not what I want. That's just. Our consideration for the internal control was for the limited purposes described in the first paragraph of this section. It was not designed to identify all deficiencies in the internal control that might be material weakness or significant deficiencies. Given these limitations, during our audit, we did not identify any deficiencies that we consider to be material weaknesses. However, material weaknesses may exist that have not been identified.
That's a standard statement.
I know.
All put in there.
That's
You
right.
an auditor, you would do something the same thing.
But they did say down here, accordingly, we do not express an opinion on the effectiveness of the city of control, Gordon's internal control. Basically, they are not really happy with internal control, and you can't have good internal controls in a situation where you have one person doing all the functions. That in itself will have poor internal controls. Now, you have a small office, so there's really it's difficult what you can do about it. But it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to get somebody in there to help out, so you can divide the functions a little bit. What's that? So, well, but there's not enough. There's not enough internal control. I promise you.
So the council is hiring him and his associates. I'm just trying to get clarity. I don't need it from the audience, Ms. Bailey.
That's not what he said. He said to recognize them.
Excuse me.
Look, I sat here and been quiet, graded in public, at the mayor's approval. I don't have to leave. If you, then you'll have to arrest me. Get pictures. Come on, take it to jail, book me. Right now. We'll buy it.
Don't put your hands on me. Don't put your hands on me. Do not put your hands on me.
Leave. You leave.
She gonna
You leave. You leave.
got the wrong
She's
one.
gonna
You
leave.
never put your hands on me no more. I don't care who you is.
Hey, you gonna calm down, so.
I don't care if they don't excuse you, tell me they don't move that. You got the right one.
Once again, this is why I say that the governor of the state of Georgia must do something
You hype stuff up.
to bring about.
Kelly, you leave too. I'm tired of hearing your voice. Leave. You're going to jail.
Tell George Boss tries to get that camera out of my face and I
He has all right to video you. Kelly, leave. Leave or you're going to jail.
I'm trying. Don't be like, don't.
Kelly, just go.
I'm trying.
Go.
Like that. Shit stuff.
Once again, this is the Ghetto Free Press.
Once again.
Give your number.
Once more. Once more.
In recording, I said nothing to anybody. I only report what others ignore. And we will continue to do that.
last night making appointments with the mayor, she hasn't called me back. She allows this person.
Like that,
It is.
shit star. Like that, shit star. Like that, shit star. I got here at 5:30, sugar. I don't care. I got here at 5:30, so.
Don't say nothing.
Claire,
He's coming from the side, but
can you come stand over here? Because they're talking about how they're going to knock us down and knock us out of the way when the doors open. You shut up. You don't tell me to shut up. You shut up.
As you can see, the tensions are high here at this meeting.
Not for that, really. I mean,
We can hear everything you're saying.
whatever. Stop trying to ill hook and listen to what I'm really saying.
I ain't got to listen to you, honey. You've been to me when I've done the whole thing. This is the second time this has occurred. Now, this, I think this is... No, I didn't. There were three times in one night when I went to across the street, people found out to see. And this is only the third time I've been here in several months.
Right there. He was, I can tell you what happened. Y'all stand back. Excuse me, Sean. He came right here with his video camera. She was coming out. I had to say, excuse me. Excuse me. He was holding the camera steadily on her. Standing right here would not even allow me to come through. I had to go and holler. Excuse me, Roy.
This is what happened.
This is...
Tommy, can you help me clear this? Everybody just needs to get so I can get it squared away. All right. Wait, can you help me clear this? Everybody needs to
Come on, Marianne, I'm over there. Come on, come on up.
Madam Mayor, Madam Mayor,
I was there.
Madam Mayor,
Oh, you was?
give me just a minute.
Oh, okay.
Don't say that.
I know you were there.
Yes, I was. And I'm not afraid to
Let's
say
step down now, but you tell me on camera what happened
Right.
down there, since you say
I
you was
will.
here.
I was right there.
No,
Get him on camera,
let's step down
Marianne.
here by the City Hall. Go
I
step
will.
over there.
I will. Yeah. This is the truth. Julie.
Come on, I'm not here, man.
But that's the
Hold on, we crazy.
No, they ain't right.
No, he says they won't.
Stop that.
Madam Mayor, would you tell me what you saw?
As I was proceeding to come out of the city annex door, this guy, the grenade guy, I don't know, I think the gentleman came up with this camera as if he was planning something, pulled it out, had it in his hand, walked there at the middle where that number is 108, and Ms. Well came out talking to me, and he interrupted her and had the camera on had the camera up on her, and she asked him to move the camera, and he wouldn't. And as I asked him to excuse me to go in to get the sergeant to come out and take me so that I could leave, to escort me out, I had to say 2 or 3 times, excuse me. And so it went from there.
Okay. Well, did you voluntarily try to explain what happened, or will you provide a statement to the police since you say you was there?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
No problem.
Why don't you go and get on record with the chief of police and tell him that you saw and that you would like to make a statement, if not tonight, some other time?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am. Once again, this is the Ghetto Free Press. We just want the truth. That's all.
I don't know what happened. I saw him inadvertently. Exactly. But I saw this lady.
Mr. Rhymes, you got to leave too. Back up from here. Okay.
It's 50, law 50 feet. Want to go back 50 feet? That's the law.
No, sir. Been asked to leave because hostility's been going on, okay?
Okay, well, we'll leave.
That's the reason
I'm
I'm
law
asking
about it.
everybody to leave.
I
Okay?
will leave. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm asked to leave, and 50 feet, I've been told, but he said everybody been asked to leave. So for the peace and harmony of everybody, I guess we'll leave.
He's fine. I sure will. He asked about you the other day.
Tell him I'm trying to stay up, trying to get everybody paid. By the time I think this noise settled down, I got to worry about it because it's...
Mayor,
about...
can I interrupt y'all? I've got to run, but I want y'all, I ain't got to get you, brother, but you can stay right there. I just want you to know I was riding down and we left the bank, right? The group of people called me a nigger. There were about 6 of them, they called me a nigger.
What?
And so I recorded, I got it on film. I want you to look at them. We're going to find out who those people are.
I know who they are.
It was a group of them.
Well, they told me I ought to be ashamed of myself.
It was a group of them.
I saw them.
You saw them?
I waved at
But when I passed by, that's what they called me.
Really?
They called me a nigger. And guess what I did right in the middle of the street? I stopped and got my camera. I said, what did you say? I said, where's the nigger?
And they said it.
I'll stand on something.
this is coming up about, you know, it was brought to our attention some time back that they wanted to name the park down by the railroad track after the BC3, but we couldn't do it because of the land was donated to the city, so we couldn't name it after them. So the old fairground was bought. The city bought it, I guess last year, and so we haven't named it, and I would like to make a motion that we name the old fairground BC3 Memorial Park. I second it.
Discussion? All in favor?
Now, that fairgrounds has had a name for years.
You're out of order. Okay.
Out of order. Anybody out of order is you.
All right, let's go.
I appreciate your family for being here. Like I said, you were purchased the Lamination property. When the property was purchased, it reverted back and became our property. And so we're just proud that we're able to do something more. We look forward to erecting the sign.
You must understand that Joseph Lowry said in the 90s that Valdosta, Brooks County, and South Georgia would be the new hub of the new civil rights movement. You've already seen that on my YouTube channel, and now you can see that his words are apparently coming to fruition. This is the Quitman Police Department that are giving the escort to the Honorable Tyrone Brooks. Joseph Eckers Lowry was here, and the people are marching. They are marching because they don't believe that the Quitman 10 did anything wrong. This is KBCI.blogspot.com. I do what I do because that's what I do. This is Quitman, Georgia, Quitman Police Department. This is the Brooks County Courthouse. If the news media don't report it, we will. That's the way we do it. Listen. Listen, please. You see dancing? Look at the dancers. Hear ye, O Brooks County, Quitman, Georgia, the home of the American Olympic in May 1918. It's a new day. It's a new time. NAACP founded in 1909. Freedom Fighters for Justice, the president of the Valdosta Lowndes County branch, Lee Touchton. Mary Gladys Lee. No justice, no peace. Men, women, and children, all singing in Quitman, Georgia. To you who are in New York, you who are in the armed forces, you who are in Seoul, Korea, you who are in Thailand, this is the voice of Quitman. This is the voice. This is the voice of Brooks County. This is the voice of South Georgia. They are saying they ain't gonna take it no more. They're saying it's time now for a change. The Quitman 10, now the Quitman 12, have made a historic movement upon the crust of the American soil. What a beautiful day to behold. Listen, listen please, to the voices of concerned citizens.
No peace! No peace! No peace!
This is the voice of the people.
No peace!
This is the voice of the people. Listen, listen please. People from Atlanta, people from South Carolina, people from Douglas, Georgia, people from Thomas County, people from Florida, people from everybody, everywhere around the country is here because they are sick and tired of injustice in the South Georgia area. We are here
because we care. How many more stayed at home? But that's okay. Only a few is in the struggle. But we stand for truth and justice until we can stand no longer. And when we can stand no longer, then we should be willing to lay down our lives on behalf of truth. What a beautiful day in Quitman. What a beautiful day in Brooks County. What a beautiful day in the state of Georgia. And what a beautiful day in the United States of America. Especially for those military veterans who have served their country only to come home to be treated as subhuman and second-class citizens. It's time for a change, and that change seemingly is among us. This is Quitman, Georgia, Brooks County. Concerned citizens on the move. Listen to the voices. Listen. Listen, please.
Do we have power for the...
What are you talking about, beautiful sister? Glad you could come.
Well, maybe they cut the power off. I know they'll cut the power. They will do whatever they can to silence us. But I just want you to know we shall not be silent.
This is KBCI.blogspot.com, George Foster Rhymes on YouTube. I'm in Quitman in the city of Quitman in the county of Brooks in the state of Georgia. We just left a meeting wherein with the Honorable Civil Rights legend Tyrone Brooks, and we just interviewed people about their experiences with the GBI and the voter registration here in Brooks County, along with the Quitman 10. And while we was getting ready to exit, we met a beautiful brother here. What's your name, my beautiful brother?
James C. Brown III.
Okay. And you were telling my beautiful brother, Tyrone Brooks, what were you telling him about your experiences?
The GBI, they came to my house, and I allowed them to enter. They started asking me questions. And so they had a copy of my voter absentee ballot. And they asked me, was that my signature on the ballot? And I said, yes. So I was wondering where they got the ballot from, but I never asked them that question. So then they asked me other questions. They asked me, did I fill out the ballot? And I said, yes. And I sealed the ballot, and I put it in the other envelope and sealed it too. And I asked them, why were they there at my house? Because there was no voter fraud going on at my house, because I was the one that filled out the ballot. And then they asked me who mailed it, and I didn't answer that question. And then they told me that I would be getting subpoenaed to court. I told them that's fine. I'm represented by a law firm out of Atlanta. And then I asked them what their names were and their badge numbers. And the other one, the first one told me his name was Steve Turner, and the other's name was Mark Crow. So
I'm familiar with Turner.
I asked him, I said, how do you spell your name? So he said M-A-R-K. And his last name sounded weird to me, so I asked him how he spelled his last name. He said P-R-O. And I don't know why he did that, because one of the other questions he asked me was I literate? Could I read? And I told him yes.
Oh my God.
And so I was, you know, things got a little, I was a little upset, but I kept my composure. And I told him at one time that I don't know why they asked me these other questions, because they have nothing to do with the investigation. And there was no voter fraud going to my house, so they needed to go and find someone else to talk to. And that was pretty much the end of the conversation.
Okay, I have a question for you. What
were your profession, what kind of job have you held since you left high school?
I went in the Navy right after graduation. And I got out of the Navy in '92, but I went into the reserves, and then in '94 I enlisted back into the regular Army, active duty, and I retired from the Army on March the 1st, 2010.
Okay, go ahead.
And I'm currently a bail bondsman. I've never bailed anyone out yet, and I'm a city councilor.
Yes.
Was just duly elected in November.
That's what I wanted. And I also want one other thing. I want to know because I just read, and Mr. Brooks, I got this in your package there, wherein there's a federal judge that made racist comments about our president. And so out of all the 44 presidents, I think that the last one, President Barack Obama, received more negativity than any president in the history of this country. So I'm bringing that in because of you and what you've done. You served your country, am I correct?
Yes.
But yet you feel, I mean, something with the GBI and your voting, you over in foreign countries, by you being in the military, you could have gone to a foreign nation to die, right?
Yes.
On the battle line.
Yes.
Now, aren't you a disabled veteran? I think you, tell me about that, your disability. That's what I want on here.
Yes, I'm a disabled veteran, 80% disabled. Currently working on my 100%, and I've served 2 tours in Iraq.
In Iraq?
In Iraq.
Have mercy. And then for you to come here and to receive questions about voting and voting rights, that reminds me, if not you, of Jim Crow, back in the days when we had to count how many bubbles in a bottle of water, all these other crazy questions. So you are one person who know about the alleged GBI intimidation, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And I consider that a travesty of justice, and all travesties of justice should be answered up for. And once they look into this, then that mistake can be corrected, and the Quitman 10 can be exonerated.
Okay, I want to know your personal opinion. We're going to close this out now. That takes care of that. And thank you for your statement. But what do you think in your own words? Give me, I didn't hear this today. I want to hear one person to tell me, I'm going to step off and I want you to talk from your heart. How do you feel about the Quitman 10 and what happened to them?
Well, I've known most of the Quitman 10 most of my life. I grew up down the street from a couple of them. And they are just people. They are upright people in the community. I've never heard anything bad about any of them. And I just think that this town is still with the 60s mentality, if not before. There's no representation. The city is mostly black, but all of our leadership is white. The mayor is white, the chairman of the board for the county commissioner is white, the sheriff's white, the police chief is white, and now all of a sudden that we have blacks in charge, that's a problem. And I also wonder if they said there was a problem, there was a spike in the ballots, did they check all of the ballots, not just the ballots that were for the Quitman 10? They checked the ballots that were voted for on the other side, or it was a one-sided investigation. So I truly believe that the Quitman 10 has been dealt a bad hand, and I'll be glad when this is all over and they are put back into their positions, because I believe what the governor did was unconstitutional.
State your name and position that you hold and your address one more time for us.
I am James C. Brown III. I'm a city councilman, District 1, Post 2. My address is 716 East Lafayette Street, Quitman, Georgia, 31643.
Do you remember the date that you were visited by the GBI agents?
I do not remember the date.
You remember the month?
I cannot even remember.
What year was it?
I don't. I believe I wrote all that down on an envelope that I have, because after they left, I called the Department of Justice and I reported their names, and I think I had their badge numbers.
Was it before the Quitman 10 were arrested or after?
I believe it was before they were arrested.
Before they were arrested,
yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
This is kvci.blogspot.com, George Boston Rhymes, YouTube, Boston G.B.R. We do what we do because we want you informed. Once again, thank you, my beautiful councilman. May God bless you. Thank you, Brother Brooks. Okay, just focus on me, though. Let's let them do what they do. You know, let's let them do what they do. Greeting. Once again, this is the Ghetto Free Press, and of course, I'm George Boston Rhymes, and I'm in Lumpkin, Georgia. Lumpkin is another one of those cities out of the 13 to 14 cities and counties wherein black elected officials are under fire. They are under fire to the degree that they are really in trouble. They are trying to remove them from office. They are bringing them up on all kind of charges. They are also, in some of these areas, like the Quitman 10+2 in Brooks County, the voting of black people in Georgia voters are being intimidated. They are suppressing the black vote. In like Hampton County, Georgia, and SPARTA, the city, they called me over a year and a half ago, but 3 months ago, I interviewed them, and you can see them on the channel. But today I'm in Lumpkin, and what's your name?
Naya Williams.
Naya Williams. Actually, speak up a little louder, but Naya Williams, you are here tonight, and of course, they just went into executive session. I thought they were going to have a meeting. So you later told me that possibly that this is relating somewhat to your situation. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. It's very possible.
Okay, and what do you do here in the city of Lumpkin?
I'm here in the city of Lumpkin. I am the city administrator for Lumpkin.
Okay. The things that you can share with the people of the state of Georgia, the nation, and the world, I'm asking you to state what you see as a problem and has been a problem here in Lumpkin concerning the mayor, your position, and maybe the news media or the police department, and try to keep names out of it right now in terms of personnel. But make your point, and if you want to call their name, you have a right to do so as far as I'm concerned. Okay, go ahead.
We're here in the city of Lumpkin, Georgia. I've been an employee here since March 31st. I found myself 2 weeks after I've been an employee here being locked up and going to jail for seem as though it's dealing with a lot of racism. That really is the initiative, as everyone knows, and I'm very aware of over 13 or 14 counties here in the state of Georgia. I mean, we're dealing with these same issues, so it's nothing new, but it needs to be drawn attention to and people made aware of. I'm just really speechless to a certain extent about a lot of things that are going on. I mean, like it was just stated, I think that this meeting is dealing with me since I've been here in the city of Lumpkin, Georgia. We have regular call meetings, we have regular workshops, but we've had, regular council meetings. We had call meetings. Seem as though we're having a call meeting every 3 to 4 weeks, and they're always dealing with personnel, and what it all boils down to, it is dealing with me. Because of the color of my skin, and that's pretty much, to me, the basis of it. I'm being attacked left and right for no reason. I am educated. I haven't done anything wrong.
Tell me about your qualification before you get into the beef of what you want, point you want to make. What's your qualification?
I am a Bachelor of Science dual major. Besides being a dual major, a Bachelor of Science, I do have an associate's degree in that, Associate of Science as well.
From where?
Troy University. Okay. Right now, I'm current a student getting my master's degree in urban planning as well.
Okay.
But regardless of what, that seems as though that isn't the case, that isn't enough, because of the fact that once removed from a position that I had at one point in time, they put someone in there that wasn't qualified, that wasn't educated, that has different things on her background. So therefore, the initial background check that was done, that you do for every employee, they wanted to go far and beyond, so they did a more extensive background because I didn't have anything on my background. I've been under attack, as well as the mayor. As a lot of people really maybe not know, African-American black mayors are under attack here in the state of Georgia. Our mayor here in the city of Lumpkin is one. It's really unfair that no matter how much qualifications or educations or even experience that you have, you still gonna face oppositions just because of the color of your skin. And being honest, I'm tired of it. Racism is clearly shown here in the city of Lumpkin. These are things that when I was younger, you read about in history books. Now that I know that it does exist still, it's not a shocker, but it is an eye-opener, and I'm hoping that a lot of people become aware of the situation. Mm-hmm. We've tried, and I've tried to reach out to other organizations that may be able to help, other state and government organizations that may be able to help, and they're brushing it under the rug. But let me expel some rumors. Before Before I started working in the city of Lumpkin, Georgia, I didn't know anyone, especially the mayor of Lumpkin, which they are trying to sexually and romantically connect me with. That is a lie. As far as me not being educated, that is a lie. As far as me not having any experience, that is a lie. Everything that I have on my resume and anywhere else, I can produce documents. But some of the people that are in office and in positions of authority and administration, they were put there just out of spite, racism. They can't produce nor show certain documents, but they don't seem to care. They put them in there anyway.
So your credentials and your qualifications can be documented beyond question?
Yes, sir, they can, beyond question.
Okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry. I'm going to ask some questions when you finish. Go ahead. Okay. All right, next I want to ask you about, what about the law enforcement, the police department? Have you had any encounters negatively towards the law enforcement officers or the county sheriff?
Here in the city of Lumpkin, yes, I have. 2 weeks after I was employed here, let me get this clear. I was hired March 31st as the city clerk.
Of this year?
Of this year, yes. Because of, in this charter, it states that the city clerk has to be appointed by city council. The city council voted me out of the position. Therefore, I, was left without a job. I did make it aware to, the mayor here that if he ever needed me for anything, because at that time I was pretty much doing the administrator and the clerk's position because we didn't have an administrator at the time. So I was aware of what, the day-to-day operations and everything else that goes on in the city of Lumpkin. Maybe about a week after I was voted out of the position, I left the position and I was given a call back to possibly come in as interim city administrator, and I accepted the offer. To get back to your question, on 2 weeks after I started working here initially, I was harassed by a police officer. I wouldn't have thought anything of it, but it's how he did approach me, knowing that I was the only person around at that time, and he knew that I was a city worker. But the way he approached me threw up a red flag for me to address it to the mayor and a few other people addressing the situation that very day. Well, I made a report about that, and the next day, needless to say, I found myself going to jail, dealing with the same police officer for no reason. And me personally, I feel it was a setup, and the reason being why I'm getting arrested at the same time, there are council members that are standing outside of the police station waiting for me to be brought back. So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that is going on here.
Wait, hold on, if you don't mind, hold on right there. Keep your point, but I want to ask you, because this is needed for the people that watch this. What charges was you brought up on? If you can say.
Yes, there were several misdemeanor speeding, reckless drive. I don't know if anyone has ever had a speeding ticket before, but if you look on the back of a ticket, there are more extensive charges that on the back of a ticket that they actually write. Pretty much all those charges that were on the back of that ticket, I got charged with those charges, which all were misdemeanors, but in the same sense too, I got charged with felony obstruction of an officer as well. What did I obstruct? I still to this day don't know.
Overall, what do you think about, just excluding the problem that you've seen, what do you think about the community in general?
Lumpkin would be, and is a great place to live. I mean, I come here every day, and on my lunch break, of course, I don't really know anyone here, so it's not like I go to someone's house or anything like that. No, I go to the store, get me a bottle of water, but when I'm at...
Your name once again?
Naya Williams.
What closing remarks will you say, what you have for the mayor, Charles Gibson, or in Quitman, James Charles Brown III, in Dawson, Georgia, Christopher Wright, or in Meigs, Georgia, Linda Harris, or in Warrenton, Georgia, George IVEY, or in, I can't think of the rest of them, it's 13 to 14 counties, the people in Hancock County. What would you say to all of these people? What you recommend, and I'm not trying to set you up, but what would you say they all possibly need to do in order to connect the dots, where in the news media, including the Atlanta Journal and Constitution, MSNBC, 60 Minutes, 48 Hours, and others, what do you think they need to do in order to collectively report what is going on in it? What's your opinion on that?
As far as, first of all, let me say this to all you all. Keep doing what you're doing, because there's some people out there like me that will sit there and have your back and not afraid to stand up for what we believe in. As far as the media go, I mean, there's other outlets, as far as people like yourself. I mean, there are other outlets that you can reach out to. I mean, and yes, you have newspapers that are privately owned and that are biased. I mean, so you can't really do anything about that, but start going to the competition. Start dealing with the competition. I mean, after a while, and then the thing is, people fail to realize the same stuff over and over and over again. People tend to start turning a deaf ear to that. So continue to let them do what they're doing, but start reaching out to the competition. I mean, people like yourself and, other newspaper medias, social media, start your own newspaper, start your own news column, start your own newsletter. So it's other ways to go around those situations and, bring out the truth. Because a lot of things are being hid and a lot of things are not being said, just like, for instance, today at this council meeting. It's about personnel. I speculate it is about me, but by me not being able to go on executive session, I can't say it's about me. With that being said, it's just, it's ways around certain things, but you have to start grabbing the resources and doing the research to be able to go around certain things. And after a while, you'll cancel out. Society runs on, on a 360 axis. What goes around comes back around again.
Next, I would like to. Yes.
With all due respect, according to the city charter of the city of Lumpkin, and the way the city charter has been disrespected, if you are going to appoint a new city administrator, therefore, according to the city charter, you as the mayor has to terminate me as the current city administrator.
It is my opinion that you were terminated at the last meeting. Council
according to the city charter, the city council cannot terminate me. And if you know your city charter, you being the mayor, you would know that.
But if you
Therefore,
knew that, you knew that the mayor couldn't cast a tie vote.
The mayor did not vote on
But
that.
if you'd like for me to do it, you're dismissed. You are fired.
Thank you. That's all I need.
Would you like to make one more outburst so I can throw you out?
Throw me out. It's not the first time.
Won't be the last either. All right.
To actually make a difference in the lives of the people here. And just getting out here, really giving the best effort to do what's best for the people, to give the people opportunity for a better life in Lumpkin, Georgia.
Once again, this is the Ghetto Free Press, and we want to press truth in your mind, because only information will save us, but ignorance will most certainly destroy us. Once again, this is the Ghetto Free Press, and I'm George Boston Rhymes, and this is YouTube. I'm still in Lumpkin. I didn't know this was the county seat. But anyway, what's your name, my sister?
Mona Hubbard.
Mon Hubbard?
Mona Hubbard.
Mona Hubbard, okay. I'm sitting here with Mona Hubbard, and she wanted to talk to me. She wanted to highlight some of the things that we can expect here in the city. Mayor GIBSON told me that she would be a good citizen to speak, and that's why we're here. Tell me something about the city. Now, first of all, I heard that there's something that happened at the city with a city council member. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yes.
And then the pastor showed me this newspaper and showed me that I think one of the people in there is you.
Yes.
Which one is it? Right.
That's me right there.
Yeah, I thought right there. So in the headlines in the paper for my YouTube watch, it says, local NAACP calls for resignation of council member. Sworn statement alleges councilwoman Debbie Stone called Lumpkin mayor a nigger. You know anything about that?
Yes.
Okay, tell us about the city first, and then maybe you can go into lead up to what happened in the situation. Just tell us. We just need to know. And by the way, tell us everything, because it's not just Lumpkin. It's a lot of cities here in the state of Georgia that has the same problem. Let's talk to us.
Well, first of all, I grew up here in Lumpkin till I was 18. I was born here. I grew up here. I left when I was 18 years old. I came back in 95 at 32. And even the difference between from when I left to when I came back.
You came back from where? Where you went?
Well, I was a military spouse.
Okay, all right, okay.
So I traveled everywhere. So I was, you know, live with different people, all races and nationalities and everything. And it's, you know, coming back home to the United States
To America,
see, to America to see this still going on, it's ridiculous. And even, like I said, I've been here since 95, and this is 2014, and it's just ridiculous. We've had Mayor Gibson, you know, to me is one of the best mayor that we've ever had here, and it's not because he's black. It's just he's just a good mayor. When he was a city councilman, if it was something that he didn't understand, he always questioned it. He never just went into a blind vote, and that's one thing I admire about him. That's why I voted for him. They expect for this Mayor Gibson to come in and do something that has never been done. I mean, when the other people, when the white people that were mayor, because Mayor Gibson is the first black mayor here, and it's like he gets so much grief and like he's supposed to change the world, pretty much the way they do President Obama.
Right.
You know, it's not like things have not been messed up already, but they expect for the first black man or the black man to come and change the world. We had one mayor that was the mayor and the city attorney. Call out a conflict, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We had we just hadn't had anybody that was doing anything. And then when companies wanted to come in Lumpkin years ago, they wouldn't allow them. So in the process of not letting anybody come in, when Lumpkin did have something to offer, in the process it has gone down now. So now it's nothing here, and the people still fighting, don't want anything to come here. You know, we have people here that don't even want a library to come. Our kids in Lumpkin don't even have a library.
No library?
No library. You know, and they're fighting with Mayor Gibson because it was a building across. You probably take some pictures of the old Lumpkin drawers. Now, city council voted to buy this building before they even got a building inspector. I mean, who buys real estate without getting an inspection first? You know, really? And I asked them about that. Who does that? So Mayor Gibson is trying to put a library down on Martin Luther King Avenue. It was a area where people used to hang around, but Chief Garcia and Mayor Gibson is cleaning up. So it's a nice area, and the area was donated to the city. And it's not only going to be a library, it's going to be a park and a you know, where the kids can go play and stuff like that. They don't have anything here. But this council person, this is not her first time referring to as black people as niggas.
Wait. Now you talking this Councilman Stone?
Councilman Stone.
Wow.
You know.
If it's not, excuse me, I got to join you, girl. This thing, I mean, I already know we had problems in other cities. Now, this is more of a reason why the governor and the Secretary of State and the Attorney General needs to be here, if not the federal government, right? Because you're dealing with civil rights here. So what else happened other than this incident?
Well, she has made the comment, and people have heard her saying that she grew up calling black people niggas. So there's nothing wrong with that. You know, part of the reason why she's an elected official is because us as black people, some of us did not vote. And of course, the majority rules.
Right.
Now that doesn't mean that she's qualified, because she's not. You know, as a council member that was before her, and it was a black man. He won the majority of the vote. She made a big deal for a recall because they couldn't prove his that he graduated.
Okay.
And pretty much they did that to disqualify him so that she could run. Okay. You know, and she's always trying to stir up trouble.
When people say that when they see you talking like you're talking, they're going to say that you are playing the race card. Or that's what they accuse me of. But this is a incident report wherein it documents, and I will put this online, that she did use the word nigger. In here they say N-word, but we're getting now because it seems like we are returning back to the Jim Crow laws. I guess we got to use it the way it is. That's why I guess you spell it out and pronounce it.
I mean, yeah.
And so what you are saying is not playing the card. This is
that's the fact.
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
And the thing about that is, the person that reported her was a white guy.
Yes.
You know, I can understand. We just got a new fire chief, and he doesn't know anybody here, so he don't know who's an ally or enemy. So his duty is to report that type of stuff, especially by somebody that's a council. So he was put in a position. He did the right thing. He wrote a statement. That's a sworn statement.
Do you know that if anybody called the Civil Rights Division or anybody in Atlanta? Because for an elected official to do this, it seemed like that definitely should have generated some type of attention from some kind of higher authority.
Well, I know that our local NAACP has asked for her resignation.
Right. Okay.
And she would not accept the letter.
Okay.
Our Columbus News, it's been on the news a couple of times. She would not accept the letter. Matter of fact, it was on the news yesterday.
Okay.
And they even went by her house to get a statement, but you know, she wasn't available for a statement. And when she first did this and it blew up, she left town for a while. You know, she's been pretty much keeping a low profile.
Okay. As I listen to you speak, it seemed like to me, and I believe me, I've been doing this since every time. It seems like to me that you are very up on what's going on. What makes you get involved in the affairs of your city? What makes you do this?
Well, first of all, I'm the chairman, the acting chairman of the Downtown Development Board. I was second chair, but then the lady that was there resigned. We're trying to get Lumpkin to have some business here because there's nothing here for it. We have to drive 8 miles to go get some grocery.
Right.
You know, and people think that Mayor Gibson has something to do with that. But if you had a company that you want to bring here, and I charge you too much for the property, you're gonna go somewhere else. He cannot make anybody put anything here. You know, several people have come and seen the thing, but then with this negative stuff like that, you know, business people are about money.
Right.
They don't care if it comes from a black or white or orange, anybody. It's about green.
Right.
But if they come here and see this division within the town, why would you want to put something here?
Well, the same thing happened, it's being discussed in Gordon. Gordon police was having trouble just to get insurance for the city because of the tension that's in the council meeting itself, and the police, I guess they are worried about the safety of the police officer because it's just a lot of confusion.
Well, Chief Garcia has really came here and cleaned up Lumpkin.
When you say Garcia, is he black?
No, he's not. He's Hispanic.
Hispanic, okay.
Yes. And me personally, I don't personally have too many problems with anybody. Per se. I'm a point blank person. I don't sugarcoat things. I don't throw rocks and hide my hands. You know, my grandmother taught me if you can have anything you want if you go to work. My grandmother was a school teacher in this county for 42 years. You know, and that's when she was born in the 20s and the 30s when black people really wasn't going to college. My grandmother went and went to college and came back and brought it here and taught generations of kids here.
Right.
So, to see how it changed from back in the 70s and 80s when I was a kid to 2014, it should be so much better now than it was then. But actually, you know, when I tell my grandbaby about the way, and not even my grandbaby, kids that's in their early 20s or, you know, just getting out how it used to be when I was a kid, they're looking at me like they can't imagine that. And it's really sad in 2014 we still doing the race thing.
Well, considering that everything that you just told us and the history about your mom, and for the newspaper to say local NAACP calls for resignation of a council member for using the N-word, as they say, how do you feel about other cities in the state of Georgia that have requested the help of Governor Deal? As you know, probably know, Chris Wright, the mayor of Dawson, was shot. And the mayor over in Gordon, Georgia, been removed by Superior Court Judge Robert S. Reeves, and yet they haven't been. She has not been found guilty. In Meigs, the black female mayor over there, have been arrested twice, have received 2 criminal trespass warnings, been banned from City Hall. Two of her brothers, Edward and Calvin, been arrested, have received 2 criminal trespass on them, according to a former police chief who had been in served 30 years says for nothing. And so don't you think, as you, and that's just a few of them,
right,
and you listen to what I just said, then you listen to, or not listen to, but as I listen to you stating to what has happened here, don't you think that the governor or the secretary of state or the attorney general, somebody should come in here and at least look and try to resolve some of these problems, or at least say to the world and to the other cities in Georgia that we concerned?
Yes, that's a major concern, because to me, history is not going to repeat itself, because that would never be allowed. But for the powers that be up in Atlanta, Governor Dillon, they need to take heed. I mean, you cannot know that this is not happening. You know, it's time to put their foot down, because, you know, if I'm in office, I'm going to do the right thing. At least look into it to see what's going on. This is too widespread. This is not just Lumpkin. This is all these small little, you know, small communities that have black mayors there.
Right, right.
You know.
So say that once again, because I've been saying it, and yet the new Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, NAACP, SCLC, Urban League, Gabby Yo, which I got the highest respect, supposed to be in Savannah with them Saturday, and others, it seems to me that to carry on the real dream of Dr. King, it seems to me, not only Dr. King, for white right people as well, somebody needs to step up to the plate nationally. Eric Holder, I don't understand why he hasn't jumped on the issue with all the problems that we are having. So I agree with you. So any closing words you want to say before we close this thing out here?
I would like to tell America to take off the blinders. I would like to tell Governor Deal and any of the people up there that we elected, they need to take the blinders off and come and see what's going on in their communities. Enough is enough, and that's it. We're not taking it.